What's up, YouTube? I got a buzz going on. I don't know what in the world this thing is. Give him a thumbs up, man. Cash Jordan. Shout out to Cash Jordan. This coming off of his channel right here. Y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that bell. Trump just shut down something. Lululemon. Oh, man. As stores explode. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Let's check it out.
Retail theft is surging everywhere, but one premium athleisure wear brand is getting hit especially hard. Lululemon customers are calling out the company for not doing more to stop repeat thieves.
So Lululemon, they've got some problems, and they might be in a no-win situation trying to survive in 2025 America, where in-store crime is a huge problem, magnified by the brand's tolerance for repeated flash mob-style robberies. However, while the brand is also facing competition from cheaper, more affordable alternatives, some say the biggest threat facing Lululemon might actually be America's new president.
Okay, Lululemons. Never heard of the store. I'm not a big shopper. I don't do a lot of shopping and stuff. If anything, I buy what's on the mannequin online pictures.
Seriously. Get out.
Bold, brazen thieves targeting Lululemon stores all over Houston, and customers have had enough.
For an employee to tell us it doesn't last that long, they're not violent, just hang out for a minute, normalizing that is just insanity to me.
Police say a Lululemon store on the Upper East Side was robbed of thousands of dollars in merchandise. Investigators releasing these images of the 5 suspects they're looking for at this hour.
Back in 2024, our CNBC investigation showed in some cases the thieves are part of organized retail crime groups stealing goods to sell for cash.
Police say in 2 days, this organized crime crew stole some $30,000 in high-end merchandise from these Lululemon stores. Investigators say this group moved on to hit Lululemon stores in New York, Connecticut, Utah, and then Minnesota.
Wait a minute, y'all. Was that DC area?
Showed in some cases, the thieves are part of organized retail crime groups stealing goods to sell for cash.
Okay.
Police say in 2 days, this organized crime crew stole some $30,000 in high-end merchandise from these Lululemon.
Okay, Denver. Okay. I thought that was Washington D.C. That is not Washington D.C. That's more close to Denver. Okay.
Lululemon stores. Investigators say this group moved on to hit Lululemon stores in New York, Connecticut, Utah, and then Minnesota.
Is that putting a strain on resources for HPD?
Yes, ma'am. It's a lot of calls for service.
In just 6 months at the Heights store, the Rice Village, and the City Center Lululemon locations, flash mob shoplifters struck 51 times.
51 times.
So fans of Lululemon are furious that President Trump's tariffs might jack up their prices even more. But what nobody's talking about is even though tariffs are part of the reason the company's prices are going up, they certainly aren't the only reason. In particular, the brand's lax attitude towards theft is a huge issue for its law-abiding customers, who don't even realize that the prices they pay subsidize corporate losses from those with sticky fingers, who apparently face little to no pushback from store employees as a matter of company policy. Now, of course, nobody should put their life on the line for a product in a store, but when crooks have an easier time stealing from Lululemon than, say, a grocery store, that should be a red flag. But it's not. And now, tariffs in particular are hitting this company's super thin profit margins, because pretty much everything made here is now subject to President Trump's new agenda, with 40% of their materials coming from Vietnam and just under 30% coming from China, 2 countries squarely in the crosshairs of what many are saying is a rebalancing of the global trade landscape. On top of that, customers have just gone through 4 years of financial turmoil starting in 2020, and many just don't have money for $120 yoga pants anymore. Which brings us to the real reason Lululemon's in a lot of trouble. They were already selling less overpriced merchandise, they've got their massive crime problem, and now these tariffs threaten to just push them over the edge. But probably the most shocking development is company management seems to have no idea how to turn any of this around, which is why they're raising prices on the few remaining customers they've got left, something that surely won't help them pump up their sales numbers, which have been in decline for the last few years. A problem made infinitely worse when the costs to operate just keep going up, not just the cost of materials, materials, but the costs of wages, even the power needed to run these stores. But as you're about to see, even though there is one thing this company could do to start saving money right now, for some reason, they're not gonna do it, and nobody's quite sure why.
Security, man. Police. Get them on the scene.
So here we find ourselves at a Lululemon inside a very expensive shopping center in downtown Brooklyn. There's a Target, there's a Katz's Deli, there was a Macy's over here. There's a whole bunch of other flagship clothing stores in this area. But if criminals had to pick one place to come in and rob, they would pick this one. And that's a problem.
Bold, brazen thieves targeting Lululemon stores all over Houston, and customers have had enough. For an employee to tell us it doesn't last that long, they're not violent, just hang out for a minute. Normalizing that is just insanity to me. I mean, why?
So here we have a woman who was inside a Lululemon when one of these flash mob style robberies took place, and the store employees told her, hey, just chill out, it'll all be over soon. They're non-violent. Can you believe that? Apparently the customer couldn't believe it either, and to them it seemed like the employees were normalizing this theft of the very products she was in there willing to pay full price for. Products that are about to have higher prices if they find themselves on this list the president is holding right here. But tariffs aren't the only problem. The company's CEO says its loyal customer base just isn't spending as much money as they used to, which essentially means the brand is burning the candle at both ends. And here's why that is.
We're just shoveling as much merchandise as possible. They're called Lulu Boosters, selling stolen goods on social media. From these stores to your Facebook feed, the organized retail theft is easy to track. Is that putting a strain on resources for HPD?
Yes, ma'am.
So this broadcast is from Houston, but the Lululemons here in New York, they've got a similar problem. These places are getting raided all the time. And it's not exactly uncommon to see police cars or even police officers parked at our stores after the thieves have made off with tens of thousands of dollars in merchandise. And part of the reason this happens is because to criminals, these stores are an absolute goldmine, as the overpriced stuff they run out the door with can be sold for up to 70% off on the internet. But since this is a 100% profit-based business model for these thieves, they're a guaranteed paycheck. Just look here on eBay, stuff that costs over $100 in the store, you can find a pretty similar looking item right here. These are apparently brand new, still got the tags. Wow. Now there's no way to prove that these items were stolen from Lululemon stores, but if you're a customer and this is what you want to buy, why not save almost $100 and just get it online from some person that somehow happens to have brand new merchandise? And you know something, some customers are probably doing this because the CEO is quoted as saying, we experienced lower store traffic in the Americas, particularly reflective of economic uncertainty, inflationary pressures, lower consumer confidence, and changes in discretionary spending. Which is a nice way of saying that if your customers can save money, they're certainly going to, and if they can do it while still buying your products, well, they might just do that too.
In just 6 months at the Heights store, the Rice Village, and the City Center Lululemon locations, flash mob shoplifters struck 51 times. On January 4th, thieves stole 200.
So, you've got this broadcast of thefts happening in Houston. There was a big theft ring out of Colorado that just got busted, and those guys, they were actually leaving the state, stealing stuff in other states, including New York. And theft rings single these stores out because underneath the hooded thugs stuffing things in their jackets are websites, Instagram accounts, eBay accounts. And in places like New York, where you can resell designer goods on a street corner, some criminals don't even need to know how to use a computer to make money. And with company management blaming skittish shoppers for their belt tightening, so to speak, it's pretty obvious that a lot of the sales that brands used to experience now happen online through third parties, where customers are duped into thinking the criminals selling things on a legitimate looking website haven't done anything wrong, yet are part of a criminal underworld that just seems to be growing. But for some reason, the company doesn't seem to have any plans to stop criminals from ripping armfuls of clothing from their shelves and then offloading them on the internet.
Thieves stole 210 pairs of leggings worth $21,000 from the Rice Village location. 1 hour later, a group took $18,000 worth of clothes from the City Center store. And reports show on January 18th, thieves returned to the Heights location 3 times at 1:02 p.m.
That's so crazy. So this one store here was robbed 3 times in one day. It's like the criminals showed up, took a whole bunch of stuff, and then we're like, okay, let's take a break. We'll come back in a few hours. It's crazy. But if these guys are making thousands of dollars per week reselling this stuff, and they never seem to get caught, what incentive do these sociopaths have to stop and get real jobs? This is their full-time job, stealing clothing and selling it on the internet. And they've got bills to pay, a car payment to make, kids to feed, maybe. And you know, this seems like a really simple problem to solve. Just look at Macy's. They've got security tags and chains on all of their clothing, keeping it in the store itself. You could also install those explosive ink tags on garments that ruin or stain them the moment they leave the store without being disabled by a cashier who's just been paid. Obviously, this is wrong and people shouldn't do it, but when you've got people who don't even bother covering their faces robbing stores in the middle of New York during the day, you know you got an issue. Obviously, these are not people who are starving and need food for their families. No, you cannot eat a shirt or a water bottle. Doesn't work that way. These things are being resold for money that these people then go on to do whatever they want with. Which brings us to the other problem Lululemon faces, and every other brand who sells anything physically also faces.
Okay.
So 2025, this is the day and time of the internet. And if you're in a business and that business doesn't sell things like empanadas or Chipotle burritos, whatever it is could be taken and then sold by somebody else. Internet-related retail theft is rampant, and it's only getting worse. When this phenomenon first started, it was thought that companies like Amazon and eBay could stop it from happening by just getting the bad actors off their sites. But now, people aren't even selling this stuff on sites where you'd go to buy something, which is why it's now more important than ever that those who steal get arrested and face justice.
Retail theft crackdown along one of Chicago's premier shopping districts. CNBC had exclusive access in Chicago, Ventura County, and Los Angeles as police arrested shoplifting suspect after suspect. Our cameras followed Commander Michael Ware in Chicago.
I have at least 2 undercovers in each store with their loss prevention.
So the other interesting thing about 2025 is that even though we've got President Trump and these tariffs that companies like Lululemon say are going to sink their battleship, this is also a law and order president. And in certain parts of the country, Chicago of all places, as we just saw, there is a massive retail theft crackdown going on. It's just not happening inside Lululemon stores. It could potentially save them a lot of money if they would get the criminals out of their stores and stop them from stealing. Because remember, the cost something is purchased for includes the products that were stolen, which were never sold from that business. They've got to make money to stay open, and law-abiding customers subsidize these criminals.
So far, 8 out of the 28 participating states reported more than 300 arrests, and more than 30 retailers took part in the operation, including Walgreens, TJ Maxx, Macy's, and Target.
When you give specific focus to a crime, it reverberates. When they see it's being prosecuted, it's being taken seriously, it absolutely...
Right, because when there are no consequences for shoplifting or stealing things, either from the actual store itself by making it more difficult, or from the city in which you live by actually putting people in jail when they take things that aren't theirs, you're gonna have this kind of thing. And for the last 4 years, we've heard every argument about how punishing crime in America is wrong. We're told it's too expensive to lock people up and put them in jail, even though the costs to society are lost jobs, lost incomes, and less opportunity for future generations whose parents are saddled with prices they can't afford on anything.
Retailers reported a 93% increase in the average number of shoplifting incidents per year in 2023 versus 2019, and a 90% increase in dollar loss due to shoplifting. The thieves are part of organized retail crime groups, stealing goods to sell for cash.
The idea is let's have one day where we focus and we concentrate.
So look, don't get me wrong, it's great to see these retail theft empires get taken down, but the problem is, if you take out the kingpins, you've still got all the minions that are robbing stores like these on a regular basis. Those people, they're not in jail at all in cities like New York. They get arrested, they get released, they come back out, they commit more crime. And the thing is, even if the crime these guys engage in is punished somewhere else, like let's say Florida, the cost of this criminal activity affects a nationwide chain, and you've got customers in in law-abiding areas of the country who are just subsidizing the criminal activity in places like New York, the story doesn't change. And the only way something's actually going to happen is if stores shut down and go out of business because they can't stay open in a high-crime area. If that happens, the criminals looting these places and putting them out of business will eventually start saving customers money. Those customers just won't be in the areas where the stores have shut down. But what that's going to mean is the real losers are the law-abiding people in crime-infested parts of the country whose leaders won't do anything to stop people from stealing.
Why is there so much more organized retail crime? Is it online? It's easier to fence this stuff?
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the folks that we talk to is the online retailers and the marketplaces have made it fairly easy, unfortunately, even though they are just...
So when internet-enabled retail theft first started skyrocketing, the theory was you get the bad actors off the marketplaces like Amazon and eBay, and boom, problem solved. Now, Amazon, for their part, they have removed non-legitimate sellers of Lululemon items. I can only find expensive stuff that's the same price as what you'd find in the store or on Lululemon's actual website, but eBay's not doing that to the same extent, it doesn't look like. And then you've got Instagram, Facebook Marketplace. You got people saying, oh, this was a gift and I'm just gonna sell it even though it was actually stolen. It's got the tag on it because, oh, I just didn't like the color. Now, the progressive solution to crime is to have the companies punish it and to punish the companies who don't punish the crime. But we're past that. We've got people selling on social media sites. These are companies that just want to have as many users as they can. There's no way to kick people off those. They'll just come back tomorrow with another TikTok account showcasing their quote-unquote hauls, saying the DMs are open. And even though this is a terrible situation and we shouldn't have come here, at least now people are going to have to admit that the only way to really stop retail theft is to put people in jail when they do something that they shouldn't. What do you think about that? Is Lululemon in a lot of trouble? Could they turn around their sinking ship, or is it already too late? Let me know. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.
Something got to be done, man. Something have to be done. They going under. Lululemon will be going under because Trump is stopping the trade. He's trying to get more jobs creating product in the United States. So that's gonna cost them more money. They gotta get some security, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think, man. I think that it's bad on all levels to just be out there just stealing in the first place, but Jesus, you gotta protect yourself. You gotta protect your store. Hey, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.